Hello, in this video, we are going to learn how to convert a rectangular coordinate to a polar coordinate. So let's begin with the note. So this is a rectangular coordinate, so it is a pair of x and y. And what we want to convert now, we want to convert into polar coordinates. So it would be r and theta. So r is the radius and theta is the angle. Now if you look at this graph, this is a polar graph. So it make up, so if you look at this particular graph, it make up of 4 circles. So the smaller circle have the radius is 1. And also, if you look at here, that again, the rotation around the circle will be 360 degrees for one complete rotation. So, and in this case, the angle is divided by 15 degrees. So it is 15 degree increment. So this is 15 degree, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90. 105, 1 up, and then so far, and then so on. Okay, so let me go ahead and start with the note first, right here. If a point P had a rectangular coordinate x, y, then the polar coordinate r theta are given by, okay, so let me go ahead and just get the graph first. Okay, so this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. In our xy coordinate, if we have a point P right here that make up of x and y. Okay, so this point, if I go ahead and create a right triangle with a central angle theta. Now this point is also the same point for our polar coordinate. So it makes up of the radius and the angle theta. Now, if we look at this graph of this picture or this diagram here, so this is our. Okay, let me use different color first. Okay. Okay, so this is our x. This is our y. Okay, and then you will say where will be our r? Okay, so our r is the hypotenuse of this right triangle. So this will be our r, and again this will be our angle theta for the polar. Okay, so to find r, you are going to use the Pythagorean theorem. So therefore, if you think about right here, that x squared plus y squared equal r squared, right? So therefore, we're going to go ahead and take the square root both sides. So therefore, r equals square root of x squared plus y squared. So that is how you find r. Okay, the next step now is the next question will be, how can we find the angle theta? Okay, so the angle theta I'm talking here. Okay. So to find the angle theta, since we know the adjacent and the opposite, you can use the inverse of tangent, or you can use inverse of cotangent. I'm going to go ahead and use the inverse tangent. So therefore, the angle theta is inverse of tangent of opposites over adjacent. So that will help us to find the angle theta. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and apply it here. So now we know x, we know y. We just want to find r and the angle theta so that we can plot the point. Okay. So the first step, I'm going to go ahead and find r first. So therefore, r equals square root of x squared plus y squared. So in this case, given x is 0, y is -1. So therefore, I'm going to go ahead and plus them in. So that will be 0 square plus -1 square. So that will give us square root of 1 or 1. So now we found r is 1. Next, we go ahead and find the angle theta. So to find the angle theta, again here, we look at the note here. We go ahead and find the inverse tangent of y over x. So be -1 divided by 0. Okay. So again, this is undivided. So we want to find the angle theta that make the inverse tangent be undivided. Okay. Now first of all, we look at here the given x, y, or the given xy coordinate or the rectangular coordinate is where y is negative, so it must have to be below the x-axis. So have to be between or somewhere in quadrant number 3 and 4. If you look at perceivably, it have to be on the y-axis. It have to be below, right? So it has to be right here. So now the next step is that we just need to find exactly what is that angle. So in this case, then we conclude that our angle will be 3 pi over 2. Okay. So it means that normally when you plot the point 0, -1 on our xy coordinate, it will be right here, right, on the xy coordinate. So the same thing right now, we just plot the same point, but it will be in the polar coordinate. So let's start with the first step is that we will go ahead and start with our r. So therefore, we conclude our answer will be 1, 3 pi over 2. So the first step, we will start with our radius is 1. So therefore, we are going to use the smallest circle that we have here. Okay, so this circle have the radius is 1. Next, we are going to locate the angle 3 pi over 2. So when you start at the 0, and then pi over 2, 3 pi over 2. So therefore, the point will be right here. So that will be the point where the radius is 1 and the angle is 3 pi over 2. Okay, so let's look at the next example. So again, make sure you keep in mind that given the rectangular coordinate xy, to find the polar coordinate, we have to find the radius by using the Pythagorean theorem, and then we have to find the angle theta by using the inverse of tangent. Okay, so now let's move on to the next one. So let me erase what we have here. Okay. So here again, we are given the xy coordinate or the rectangular coordinate. We want to find the polar coordinate. Okay. So we are given this is x, this is y, and we try to find r and angle theta. So let's go ahead and begin to find r first. Okay, so to find r, so again, r is square root of x squared plus y squared. Remember the Pythagorean theorem. So r is the hypotenuse. So now the next step, we go ahead and substitute our x and our y. So our x we substitute by 2 square roots of 2 square, and plus y 2 square roots of 2 square. Now we go ahead and simplify the expression inside the square root. So 2 square will be 4. Square root of 2 square will be 2. So 4 times 2 plus, and 2 square will be 4. And then square root of 2 square is 2. So that will give us square root of a plus a. So therefore, square root of 16 will be, so therefore r is 4. So now we found r is 4. So now the next step, we are going to find the angle theta. So for the angle theta, we are going to use inverse tangent of y over x. So 2 square roots of 2 divided by 2 square roots of 2. So therefore, we simplify the fraction, so that just gives us 1. Now, first I'm going to look at here, since x and y, they are both positive and they're both exactly the same number. So it means that it has to be in quadrant number 1, right? Because x and y, they are both positive, and therefore our angle will be pi over 4 or 45 degrees. Okay, so now I'm go ahead and plot the point. So let me go ahead and, so you can see right here, so that's it. So we plot the point here. So our R is 4. So we go ahead and pick the circle that have the radius is 4. And our angle is pi over 4. So on this circle, we're looking for the angle that have pi over 4, so which is 45 degrees. So therefore, this will be the point 4 is the radius, and the angle is pi over 4. Okay, so let's move on to the next example. So far we learned how to convert from rectangular coordinate to polar coordinates. Now we go ahead and go vice versa. So let's look at the next example. So in this example, we are given a polar coordinates. So we're given the radius and the angle, and we want to find the rectangular coordinates. So we want to find x and y. So we given r and theta, and we want to find the rectangular coordinate. We want to find x and y. So again, let's go back to the note. So this is our x, this is our y. So if we have a point P, X, Y, and I'm going to go ahead and sketch it so that we can see our angle theta. So our x will be the adjacent, our y will be the opposite, and our r will be the hypotenuse. So if you remember sine, so if you think about here, sine of the angle theta is opposite over hypotenuse, right? And then cosine of the angle theta is adjacent over the hypotenuse. So from here, we will be able to find our rectangular coordinates, our y and our x. So therefore, y will be r times sine theta, and x will be r times cosine theta. So I'm going to go ahead and use these two formulas to find our x and our y. So let's start with x first. So I'm going to start with by order. So x is r cosine theta. So in this case will be r is 3. So 3 times cosine of 5 pi over 3. Now, cosine of 5 pi over 3 is 1/2. So therefore, it will give us 3 over 2. So therefore, our x now will be 3 over 2. Now let's go ahead and find our y. So y will be r times sine theta. So be 3 times sine of 5 pi over 3. So 3 times sine of 5 pi over 3 will be negative square root of 3 over 2. So that gives us negative 3 times square root of 3 divided by 2. Okay. So negative 3 times square root of 3 divided by 2. Okay. Now let's go ahead and plot the point. Now if you have hard time to figure out the point, so this is, so 3 divided by 2 would be exactly, okay, so it will be exactly 1.5, and negative square root of 3 divided by 2, that will give us about negative 2.6. So when we plot the point, we're going to go, our x will be 1.5 and our y will be negative 2.6. So let's go ahead and plot the point now. So that's it. So this will be our point right here. So our x is 1.5 and our y will be about 2.6. So this will be 3 over 2 comma negative 3 square root of 3 over 2. So this will be our xy coordinates. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.